Hello again, beautiful beings of light. And of course, welcome back to another live at 5:55. Today we're talking all about simulation theory, virtual reality, and video games. And the reason why we're talking about video games today is because we might just be living in one. So today's packed live video is all about if we are living in a virtual reality and if everything around us is simply just a simulation. And if it is, what are we going to do with that information if we are living in a simulated reality? So stay with me. I've got lots of questions for all of you. I've got lots of mind-blowing information to share with all of you today as well. I want to just let you all know that everything that I talk about, everything that I receive does come channeled to me. I do not try and stay away from as much external research and knowledge as possible so that the concepts stay as pure as possible. So this may not be your truth, and that's okay. And I still love you even if you don't resonate with this information. But it is pretty hard hitting, especially to all of you who are energetically open. So hang in there, get your notebooks ready, and strap in because today's live video is going to be a wild ride. So let me just go over what we're going to be talking about today. Lots of stuff here. So I'm going to be talking about, okay, first of all, what is the definition of a virtual reality and simulation theory? I'm going to be asking all of you, do you think that we're living in a virtual reality? I'm going to be talking about my virtual reality or VR experience. I just tried virtual reality or VR for the first time ever. You know those like giant headsets that you put on and you're like kind of in another world? I just tried that. I had a mind-blowing realization while doing VR, and so I'm going to be presenting that mind-blowing realization to all of you today. What else? I want to talk about singular reality theory. This is not really a theory that's out there. This is something that I've just kind of come up with. I want to just kind of present this theory to all of you just to kind of see where you're at and how you feel about it. I'm also going to be talking about specifically simulation theory and spirituality. What is the difference between waking life, dream state, and astral traveling? So I'll be talking about that as well. And then, of course, as usual, I do have a draw for a free webinar ticket. So if you have reviewed me on Facebook or Google, your name is in here and you have a chance to win at the end of the webinar. So stay tuned. And if you haven't already reviewed me, then go ahead and do so. You don't have to have a session with me in order to review me. So you can do that on Facebook or Google at any point. Okay, so let's dive right into it. I'm just going to pull up the comments here for the video. Today we are streaming off of, I think, 6 different platforms. We've got Vimeo and Periscope, and we've got YouTube, and we've got Facebook going. So hello to everyone from all over the world who is tuning in. I greatly appreciate your presence at this time. Okay, great. So, of course, we're going to start with announcements. Just really quickly here, I am ending all one-on-one sessions, okay? So I'm no longer going to be taking any more clients. I love you all so much, and I'm so happy that I could be a motivating and empowering factor in your life, but I need to move on to awaken more people. So I am putting out an online school that should be out as of October 1st. You will get plenty of information on that the closer we get. So now is the time to book your session. If you've never booked with me, or if you've been a client of mine for a couple of years now, this is your last call to book a session with me. So please keep that in mind. The next webinar that I have, the last one was on the Mandela effect and CERN. It was so mind-blowing, so powerful. The next one is going to be on September 16th. and it's all about manifestation. Are you interested in manifesting your dreams, your goals, desires? Well, I have got the secret hacking tips to hack your reality to manifest the life that you want to live. So if you're interested in those hacking tips, you definitely want to sign up for that webinar. It's just $44 for an hour and a half, and you sign in through Skype, so it's international. You can go onto my website, book the schedule button, and the tickets will be right there for you. What else? The next live video, it kind of came to me this past week. The next live video is going to be all about health. And a lot of my clients right now are dealing with a lot of major health issues. A lot of people in general, when we all suppress energy and emotion, health issues, chronic disease, inflammation, autoimmune, it all comes to the surface. A lot of you don't know this, but I myself was actually diagnosed with lupus, which is an autoimmune disease. They basically said there was a good chance that I would be in a wheelchair for the rest of my life within the next 5 years. Well, here I am, 5 years later, and I am completely cured of lupus. So I'm going to be talking about health, curing yourself from disease, and all of that great stuff next week, next Monday. So if you have family members, friends, people who in your life who are suffering, please share these videos, not just this one, but the health one, the depression, all of them. People really need help and assistance right now at this time. And I am so privileged and excited that I can be a part of someone's journey of self-discovery. Okay. Keeping that in mind, also really exciting, I'm going to be a featured speaker with Stargate to the Cosmos. This is an awesome expo convention that is happening in New Mexico at the end of October. So please buy your tickets if you're from around the world and you're like, yay, I would love to meet Elizabeth April in person and get her deep knowledge and wisdom, then you definitely don't want to miss this Stargate to the Cosmos Expo. It is posted on my Facebook with a link to purchase tickets for all of you. Okay, great. Once again, online school being released October 1st. I'm really hoping that's the deadline. If not, we'll just kind of have to roll with the punches and see. As you all know, I've got merchandise that expands your vibration as you wear it. I've had a lot of clients buy the merchandise and have really cool experiences with it. I know every time I wear my own merch, I always get stopped on the street and people ask me, it's actually really funny. They're like, where did you get that? And where can I get one? This t-shirt or a tank top. And I'm like, actually, I made it myself. And they're like, minds are blown, which is amazing. So yeah, so think about that. I also wanted to mention a really awesome opportunity, really cool partnership. I will be partnering with Gaia, the network, Gaia Network, Gaia TV, I don't know. And I'm going to be starting to write articles for Gaia. So I'm going to be releasing information through Gaia, which is just really a great network of high vibrational people. There's been some sketchy stuff happening with Gaia recently, but I'm moving past that, and I'm utilizing their network to my benefit so that I can spread this information to a larger audience. So stay tuned for those articles. My first article with Gaia is going to be very exclusive, and it's all about the 3 steps you can take to remember your past lives. So you don't want to miss that for sure, and that's going to be coming out in the next couple of weeks. Okay, let's get into it. Are we living in a game? Are we living in a virtual reality? Now, before I dive into this topic, and it's going to be really powerful, so hang in there, I want to ask all of you, where in the world are you from? I'm always so curious to see where all of my clients, my followers, my viewers, where you are all from. And more I'm getting, clients from Sweden and Australia and Spain and Guatemala and El Salvador and just all over the world. So it's really beautiful. Where are you from in the world? Please comment below. Let me know. Let everyone else know. Where in the world are you from? And what is one word that you would use to sum up your past week? For me, this past week, yeah, and I might have even said this word last time, but the word would be balance. I really truly feel like with like new exercise in my life, more cooking, really good food, and painting and art, I really feel like I'm letting go of my workaholic, mentality, and I'm really starting to just enjoy life. I mean, that's what we're here to do, right? So what is one word that you can kind of sum up your past week, and where in the world are you from? So comment below. Awesome. So we've got New Zealand, we've got the UK, we've got Canada. Okay, some words that are coming through. Draining, sadness, oh, disturbing, oh my goodness. My love, compassion, heart, my energy goes out to all of you who are going through a really rough time at this time. I mean, it feels like we just keep getting hit with these brick walls. So hang in there. I mean, you are exactly where you need to be because you have chosen, you've made the decision to sign on right now to watch this live video. You could be doing anything, but you are here right now. So you're on the right track. Hang in there, everyone, and I love you so much. Okay, so the definition of simulation theory. Now, I believe I pulled this. Did I pull this? Yes, I did pull this from online. Okay, so sometimes, I make up my own definitions, which works, and sometimes I pull it from online. So I pulled this one from online. The definition of simulation theory is, this is based off of Google, I don't know, all of reality, the earth and the universe, is a form of a computer simulation. That doesn't really say much, but it basically says that everything around us is some sort of simulation, which basically implies that randomness does not exist, right? So just take it in. Randomness doesn't exist. So everything is happening based on this simulation. And when we get into, quantum physics and we get into sacred geometry and we get into the mathematics, seriously, this is one of the biggest arguments for simulation theory that's out there. And there are many, many scientists and physicists and engineers who all strongly believe that there's a good possibility we are living in a simulated reality. And one of the strongest factors in this belief is actually something called the Fibonacci Sequence. For those of you who don't know, I don't know much about it. I haven't really channeled much on it. But for those of you who don't know, the Fibonacci sequence is basically the perfect spiral that we find in every single molecular structure in this known universe. So how is it that we break everything down, every single atom, every single biological entity, we break it all down and it's the exact same as one another, right? Basically the simulation theory states that everything is so perfect at the atomic level that it can't just be a fluke, right? It just can't be nature. We always say that nothing is perfect in nature, and yet it's the complete opposite. Everything is perfect in nature. And that's why, scientists really push for the simulation theory, thinking that we are in some sort of program that was created by maybe the future version of ourselves, maybe, a higher entity being, maybe it's, maybe we're literally in like a VR game for another human population, like who knows, right? But I'm going to bring up and go into a couple of really important facts, not even facts, I don't want to call them facts, but just opinions and channelings that I have received over the years about this, because I've definitely spoken about this before. I love simulation theory, and I love getting people thinking about this kind of stuff. So I want to pose a question to all of you, and please, please, please comment below. Let me know. I have no idea where you are all at with this. And the question I want to ask is, do you think, whether you have studied simulation theory or you don't even know what virtual reality is, do you think that we are living in a simulation? Do you think that this is some sort of program that we're living through? Yes or no? Just comment below. Let me know. Where are you at with that? Do you think that we're living in a simulation? Let's see what some answers are. Okay, totally. Yeah. Amazing. Okay. Yes, great. Let's see. Okay, awesome. Fantastic. So a lot of people are saying yes. Some people are saying, I have no idea what you're talking about. Some people are saying no. It's really tough. And it's kind of like mind boggling to even think that there's something else that's creating us. So I want to talk about my VR experience. So this past weekend, I went to, and if you follow me on Instagram, then you will definitely, you'll know this because I post all of my life on Instagram and those Instagram stories. So this past weekend, I went to an IMAX theater. This is really cool. It's an IMAX VR theater. So it's an IMAX virtual reality movie theater. So basically what you do is you sign up for a couple of experiences. You put on this giant headset. Sometimes you have a backpack that vibrates. Sometimes you have controllers in your hands. But basically what it is you're going through these virtual reality experiences. And I've never tried virtual reality before, but it was incredible. It was so much fun and like so trippy and so incredible, but also so mind-blowing on so many levels because it really got my mind thinking about real simulation. I mean, are we really in a virtual reality? And so this huge question came to mind. And I still don't have the full answer to this, but I want to pose this question and see just kind of where you guys are at and what you're thinking about this. And the question is, if we are living in a virtual reality, so let's just say we're living in a video game, okay? So if we're living in this projected hologram matrix reality, and even though we're conscious, even though we're making conscious decisions in every moment, even though we're waking up, even though we're realizing, I've got control over this is fantastic, do we still have sentience? And this is a huge question. So for those of you who don't know, sentience is a huge concept with artificial intelligence or AI. And sentience is basically the concept of, is the AI, is the technology device, is the robot aware of itself? I mean, that is what sentience is. And so if we are living in a virtual reality game and we're unaware of the fact that we're living in a video game or a virtual reality, then does that not mean that we aren't sentient? We are not aware of ourselves in the matrix. We're aware of ourselves to a limited extent. Like, say, for example, a dog is aware of itself in the mirror. Okay, cool. It barks a couple of times and then it realizes, I'm the one barking at myself, So there's a level of awareness, but at a deeper level, if we are unaware of the fact that we're living in a simulation, it means that we're not even consciously aware of the fact that we're living in the simulation. Okay, so I know it's kind of like a very convoluted concept, and it's very what do I want to call it? It like goes against what we've been taught in society. So it's difficult. It's abstract, right? It's difficult to fully understand. But if we wake up to the fact that we're living in a simulated reality, and this simulated reality has a path for us, if we realize that we're living in this simulated reality, then we can actually create a path for ourselves instead of the path that is predestined. Now, if people were to ask me, well, Elizabeth April, like, what do you think? Like, are we living in a simulated reality? I don't want to say yes or no for sure, but I want to say absolutely there is a program that is going on here on this planet that we aren't fully aware of. And I believe that through literally waking up, expanding our consciousness, understanding who we are and why we're here, we are able to take the controller of the virtual reality video game and we're able to actually program our entire game ourselves. And this really gets to the point of singular reality theory. I don't think this is an actual thing. I don't know if it is, but this is something that I kind of came up with when I was channeling this information. And singular reality theory is basically my theory of the fact that there are two different realities that we're all living in. Likewise, if we were to think about our reality as a video game, there are two different phases of the video game that we can choose to play. And this is going to really hit home to a lot of you. One part of our video game is, do you want to live and choose to exist in this video game within your own reality, or do you choose to exist and live within the outside reality? Now, what I mean by this is, are we living in the virtual world of this virtual reality, or are we living in our own little reality within this game, this video game? And so there was a really cool experience that happened to me after the VR IMAX theater. And the experience that happened to me was, we went out for drinks afterwards, and we were just kind of at we went out for frozen yogurt, and we were at this bar, this frozen yogurt place, and there was all these people around. And there's this man, and unfortunately he was homeless. There was this homeless man on the street causing the craziest amount of traffic because he had a flashlight, and he was flashlighting and directing the traffic, like this. And I mean, he wasn't a traffic conductor, but maybe, in a past lifetime he was. Maybe this was a dream of his that he was living through. Maybe he was intoxicated, but he was directing traffic all the wrong way. So traffic was getting confused. There was a lot of horns honking. And I'm thinking to myself, this guy is in his own little world. Therefore, he is choosing to live within his own singular reality. Nothing else, he's not picking up on any cues from the outside world. He is totally exactly living within himself in his own little made up world, projected world. So that's singular. The other thing too is, there's this guy who came up to us, and same kind of thing. He was definitely homeless. He was asking for change. And, usually I try and not allow those people to affect me because they have a very low vibrational frequency, and I have to send them off with love and understand that they're on their own path of suffering or whatever that may be. And so instead, in that moment, I decided to affect his reality. So his reality was very impoverished, right? And in need and suffering, right? And instead of giving him money, I ended up giving him my light, my energy. So instead of kind of averting my eyes, I ended up looking right in his eyes. And I told him, I said, no, I'm so sorry, but I'm sending you good energy, right? And so I tell him this, and I literally look and I send energy and light and love through my eyes. And he looks at me really close, and he's like, wow, he's like, you look like you're on crystal meth. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm definitely not on any sort of drugs. But it's interesting how someone in that state looks at me. I'm giving them one thing. They're perceiving it as an entirely different thing. But it was clearly I was on this different plane of existence. And he knew what that felt like, but he didn't really know how to categorize it. Once again, he's living in his own projected reality. I'm living in my projected reality. And every once in a while, these two individual realities, they clash and they create something different altogether. So those are my experiences of, experiencing people in their individual realities. And then you have other people, such as myself or a humanitarian or a doctor, whatever, who make it their mission to help the world, right? So the problem with this, projected reality, living in a global reality, is that there's a lot of destruction. There's a lot of pain. There's a lot of suffering in a global reality. Therefore, we're absorbing the woes of the world in every single moment. And then we stop living our own life because we're living through the world outside of us, right? So if we say, yes, okay, we're living in a simulation reality, right? We're living in a simulation, we're living in a virtual reality, then what does that mean for us, right? I mean, what game do you want to play? And that's really the biggest question. And I just want to let all of you know that whether you believe in simulation theory or you think that we're living in a virtual reality or not, it's okay. But just for a second, just think about the fact that we might just be living in a virtual reality. And what that means, and what I truly believe, virtual reality or not, I truly believe that we are the one and only creators of our life, right? So it's time to pick up that controller and start living the life that you've always wanted to live. Now, I want to talk a little bit about simulation theory and spirituality. Now, the really, like, one of the coolest facts that I've heard of from science is that doing a lot of testing and studying on the brain, the neurapses and the neurological responses to dreams versus reality, this world, right? It's two very different places, dream world and real world. And so what science has discovered is that there is actually no difference that our brain can conceive or conceptualize between real world and dream world. And the reason being is because we are immersed. All of our senses are being utilized in dream world. We are creating memories as if they are real memories in the real world, which is mind-blowing. And the reason why virtual reality is so real, so visceral, is because once again, we have the exact same projection of reality. We are immersed visually, we are immersed audibly, and we are immersed physically, right? So we literally feel different sensations, vibrations, things moving around, and we have control over our environment through virtual reality. So what exactly is the difference between virtual reality, this reality, and dream reality? Scientifically, our brain does not perceive any one of those as different. Just take it in. I mean, that's science, right? So scientifically, our brain does not perceive dream world, virtual reality, or this world any differently. That is, once again, another very key point that leads us into the direction that we are indeed living in some sort of projected simulation reality. I mean, if we can't wake up in this moment because we don't know the difference between this moment and dream world and virtual reality, then who's to say we don't have consciousness from, light years away that are projecting this reality for us, right? So there's a lot of things to think about and a lot of things going on, but I think that that's a really key point, is that we literally cannot distinguish the difference between one or the other. And what else did I want to say? Yeah, and so spiritually thinking, if we're thinking about spirituality, we're thinking about virtual reality. I mean, they seem very different entities. One's maybe more scientific, one's maybe more etheric, energetic. But at the end of the day, think about it. If you believe in reincarnation and past lifetimes, we choose our avatars. If you're a nerd like me and you like video games, because I definitely like video games, and maybe it is the whole virtual reality, understanding, but we choose our bodies, we choose our path, we choose our challenges, we basically choose the levels of this video game. Before we come here, we choose our characters and then we become the character, right? So whether you believe or you're nerdy and you love video games or not, I mean, spiritually thinking, we are consciously creating this reality. We are, basically programming our own video game before we get to this lifetime. We're choosing our avatars, we're choosing our characters, and then we're just living through them. And a movie that came out recently that I thought was really cool and kind of resonated with me is Jumanji, right? The new version of the movie Jumanji. And it's exactly that. I mean, they get sucked into a video game and they become different characters. And on the greater scheme of everything, that's exactly what happens to us, is we choose different characters and then we live through those characters on a day-to-day and lifetime-to-lifetime basis. So that's really cool. And then what else? Okay, great. Let's just see, so I just want to check in and see if there's anything else that I want to talk about. I just want to check into myself or my higher self, my guides. Let's just see if there's anything else that needs to come up related to virtual reality and simulation theory. 1 second. Interesting. Okay. Okay, so I got this image, so I just kind of said, hey, is there anything else that I'm missing? Anything else that I want to put in there? I got this image, and it's a really cool image, and I like usually channel and see things very visually. It was an image of myself, just as a good example, and behind me, so when I took a look at the image, it looked like my human self, my EA self, is very like, looked like very solid. And then there was this whole streamline of all of these transparent bodies and images of bodies behind me, right? Representing all of my past life selves. And then there's this streamline of bodies and images in front of me representing all of my future selves. And then I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool. And then you take, I mean, it goes infinitely either way. And you take this whole streamline and they moved it and they shifted it so that it's like stacked on top of each other. And basically the guides or whoever was talking to me, or just myself, I'm not sure, were saying that we are indeed living in some sort of simulated reality, and we are moving through all of the layers of that reality in order to get back to source. And when we get back to source, what does that mean? It means that we ultimately become the creators of a new virtual reality game, because we start off as humans with nothing. I mean, we don't have any memories. We're third dimensional beings. We've got very survivalistic instincts, right? We've got nothing. We start off with nothing, and we awaken ourselves through the experience of being human in this 3D reality. Then we continue off to the fourth dimension, fifth dimension, and beyond to once again gain access to knowledge, information. And the higher our vibration goes, the closer to source we get. Once we've learned everything that there is to learn in this universe through all of our experiences and lifetimes, then what is there? We are ultimate source. Therefore, we have unlimited access to everything. Therefore, what else is there to do but to separate once again from source and to create our own universe? And truly, more and more, the more I channel, the more I'm starting to understand that that's exactly what happens, is that once we get back to source, we decide to go back to nothingness, to start everything once again. But this time we are able to start our own universe and basically control the entire virtual reality paradigm, rather than just living through someone or something else's, virtual reality video game. We actually get to make our own video game. But because we are an aspect or a part of source energy and high vibrational frequency, it basically means that we are able to create our own simulation, and we're able to live through our own experiences in every single moment as we're playing this game that we found ourselves in. Once again, the biggest power that any human has on this entire planet, any living thing in this entire universe has, is free will. So utilizing your right to free will in every single moment is where you're going to be able to access, all of the information deep down within yourself. So once again, I want to ask all of you, do you think that we're living in some sort of virtual reality or simulated reality? It doesn't have to be a video game, but it could be some sort of program that was put out there, maybe by the creator of this universe, which is just source energy, who has learned everything that there is to learn and created everything else so that we can all learn through them. It's just a very interesting understanding and realization to make. But I do want to leave you all off with the fact that we create our own reality, and all we have to do is pick up that controller of that video game and start playing our own lives. Do we choose to live our own individual singular reality, or do we choose to live a much broader, world dynamic reality? However, I think the best place that anyone can be is living the balance between both worlds, internal and external. Now, that being said, I'm going to go through the announcements one more time, and then I am going to draw for a free webinar ticket on September 16th, which is the manifestation webinar. So if your name isn't drawn, feel free to review me and put your name in the draw. Also, if your name isn't in there at all or whatever, feel free to buy a ticket for that webinar. It's going to be really good. I'm ending all one-on-one sessions, just letting everyone know. I'm just freeing up space, time, and energy for myself so I can write books and put out a course and really kind of get going on spreading this information to the masses. So ending live sessions, I mean, at any point in time, I could basically take off that option on my website. So please book your session now if you are interested or you have been questioning. I will be a featured speaker in New Mexico for the Stargate to the Cosmos Expo. So buy your tickets now. Come see me live. Come say hi to me, and that'll be really fun. Also, merchandise coming out, all good. And what else? Oh yeah, next live video next week. It's all about chronic health issues. It's cancer, it's disease, it's all of that great stuff. Just a reminder to all of you right now, please share this video. Everyone needs to start questioning their reality and understanding that we might just be living in a virtual reality. So keeping that in mind. And yeah, other than that, let's do a draw and see whose name is chosen for this next webinar. I always put it out there, especially based on the fact that this webinar is all about manifestation. Whoever name is chosen out of this 240 names is chosen for a reason, because they really need help manifesting. So just know that, it's always set a good intention for the right person to be chosen for this webinar ticket. Okay, so just keep in mind. Okay, awesome. So let's see here. Setting positive, loving intentions. Okay, I think I've got one. All right. Okay, so we've got Lauren Alsish. I believe that is exactly who you are. I've seen you many times before. You might even be listening to this live video. Lauren Alsish. Alesich. Congratulations, Lauren. I will be contacting you with the webinar ticket, and you are well on your way to manifesting because you manifested this free ticket. So that's fantastic. Awesome, everyone. I love you so much. Thank you all so much for tuning in today, whether you are tuning in from Periscope or Facebook or YouTube. I really appreciate your presence in this live video. And just be aware that we are living in a simulation reality, and we have the control over this simulation to live the life that we have always wanted and always deserved to live. Sending you all so much love. Have a beautiful rest of your week, and I will see you all next Monday at 5:55 Eastern Standard Time. Bye.